when you see a skull, it reminds you of a wound that has healed and has literally left that skull. But for me, this testimony, I call it a beautiful skull, because when I see those skulls in my life, they remind me of the faithfulness of God. They remind me how the Lord has walked with me step by step, and every time I reflect on these skulls, indeed there is God in heaven who watches us, who hears us. When he tells us, I am the father to the fatherless, indeed he means it. My name is Jacqueline Mwende Mawira. More to that, I'm born again. And I would like to share my testimony to go and heal a soul that has been waiting upon the Lord, never to give up. And to encourage you that there's God who does things, there's God who does his own miracles in his own way, at his own perfect time. So
Golden Arc TV, subscribe. Thank you for watching.
the purpose of sharing my skulls is to glorify God through my testimony, that it may heal a soul somewhere that has been waiting upon the Lord, to encourage a couple somewhere that has been trusting God. So back in 2019, this is the day that I had really waited for, to get married in this holy matrimony, a beautiful ending, and the Lord granted me a man that I really adore in my life, a man that I really prayed for, by name Johnson. And so we started planning our wedding, and on this day that my wedding was announced in the church, the following week, the same week on Thursday, as we were going for marriage counseling, we had an accident, and in the accident, mi peke yangu ndo niliumia. So tulikuwa na bwanangu to be, that is my fiance, but it happened, mi ndo niliumia. And after that nikarashiwa OC. So after kwenda OC, I was booked for a surgery, but this time round the doctor was very specific that I'm not supposed to get pregnant kwa sababu ya kuingizwa theater. Since I'm supposed now to go for a surgery, na daktari amesema sipaswi nipate mimba, and makiwa I'm getting married in 3 weeks time, so and I had to go for the surgery after the honeymoon, of which it happened. But now again choosing to go for the surgery after the honeymoon, their condition, no getting pregnant. If I get pregnant, surgery nayo nisahau mpaka nizae, so that I can go for the surgery. So for the honeymoon, actually, as per se, I enjoyed my honeymoon, but this time round we had to be very cautious, because nilijua hapa nikipata ball then hakuna kuingia theater, so lazima tungeka at least measures to make sure that I don't get pregnant in between before I go for the surgery. So after coming back, still I had to stay for 3 weeks for doctor hakikisha kabisa yenyewe kabla tukuingize theater you're not pregnant, of which it was, he confirmed, and later was booked, and in the theater room something strange happened. Daktari alikuwa na expect, because ilikuwa mguu na ilikuwa imefura, ali expect akikata atapata clots, blood clots, but apparently what he got there was water. Na akasema ile maji ipelekwe lab ikatestiwe, but for me I was like no. Hiyo ilikuwa ni accident, and the surgeon was like no, hii izikuwa accident, hatujaiyo na accident then maji form, ni damu inapaswa iform the clots. So mi nikatoka theater na mguu yangu ikapona, and that was the first scar that was left in my body. Hiyo mwezi tu nilianza signs of pregnancy, the morning sickness. So tukaenda kwa daktari to confirm, which I took a test and it turned out to be positive. Actually, we were very happy. I remember nilikuwa narudi job that day and we were very excited, expecting our firstborn, you know, for any newly married couple. And so I started my journey, and I decided I'll start clinic when I'm around 3 months pregnant. And on this day, before I went for the clinic, I realized something is wrong somewhere. I got some kind of spotting. So I rushed to the hospital. Kama kawaida, unajua kuna signs ukiona kama mama mjamzito, unaona these are red flag. So after kuona those signs, nilikimbia OC, and daktari akaona this is not normal. So it was a she put me under medication for 2 weeks and bed rest for 2 weeks. So faithfully nikakunywa dawa zangu na nika make sure nimelala for those 2 weeks. But again, after the 2 weeks still napata the problem. After nime stop kutake medication, napata the bleeding bado iko. So nikarudi back OC. This time round the doctor recommended for a scan, and the scan was reading no fetus features found. Kwa wenye wajashika hiyo kizungu, inamaanisha mimba niko nayo lakini hakuna mtoto. So in the conclusion, you know, ile ni karatasi ya daktari, kuna pale anapata whatever, and in the conclusion he wrote that suggestive of HMOL. So I went to the doctor and he explained, akaniambia yeye mwenyewe, I remember her words very clearly. Aliniambia pia mimi hiki tu sijui. Whatever I learned in school ni theories. But she told me it is an abnormal pregnancy. So she explained to me what is inside me. The placenta had formed and the amniotic fluid was there, but there were no fetus. Niambia mtoto iko maji, but mtoto mwenyewe hakuna. So that means the pregnancy would not go to term. So daktari akaniambia that these things do happen, but it is very rare. Like in 10 million women, it only happens to 1 woman. And so this thing can be removed. So I had to go through a procedure that is known as a DNC. So hiyo ni kama wanaitanga kuoshwa, that is ile the formation ambayo ilikuwa kwa uterus inapaswa itolewe. So the first thing that came to my mind, unajua kuna zile story unasikia kama ni stories za ajabu, unasikia mama amejifungua maji, mara ameenda kajifungua hewa, and here you are now, you are the culprit yourself. Niko na maji. Of course mara ya kwanza unafikiria ni mauchawi ni nini, you know, but yeye aliniassure that the amniotic fluid can be removed together with the placenta. So lazima ningepelekwa theater. So nikalazwa OC, I will call that hospital A. Nikakuwa admitted hospital A, and I was booked kuingia theater. Ile theater mahali nilikuwa iko karibu na maternity, so unasikia sauti za watoto, and you know that feeling na unaenda ni sasa ni kama kutolewa ile mimba, the pregnancy that was not viable. It was really a very painful, I don't know, I don't have words to explain that kind of a pain. And I thank God I went in na nikatoka, and my husband was there with me throughout. So after that nikakuwa discharged, nikaenda nyumbani, but still the bleeding was supposed to clear within 3 days. But I realized the bleeding is still there. Remember, psychologically bado na feel niko tortured. So kukuja home the problem ina persist. So nikaamua kuseek for a second opinion. So nikaenda nikapigwa scan tena, ikaonekana ile uchafu haikutolewa yote. So I had again to go kuingia theater tena for the same procedure. But this time round, I had now to look for a second opinion. I thank God for our pastor in GCC, that is Pastor Ernestine, wife to our Bishop Dr. Patrick Redire. His wife alinipeleka OC the second time now for theater. So we went to Dr. B. Let me call her Dr. B. And this time round it was during the COVID. So kupata OC ilikuwa bit ngumu because wale madaktari hawakuwa wanataka kwenda kwa public hospitals because now it is during the COVID. Hawelewi COVID ni nini. So I had to look for a private hospital, kukomboa theater. Juu yule daktari hata ingia peke yake, anahitaji nurses. So it was quite expensive for us, but we thank God we managed. Tukapata ile hospitali, tukalipa, and Dr. B came and he performed the procedure DNC. And I remember this time round he was like, Jackie, unaweza angalia ile kitu imetoka? And I'm like, I had not that courage ya kuangalia ni nini exactly imetoka. So nilimwambia tu dispose kama sijaangalia. And the following day I was later discharged. Nikaenda nyumbani. So kawaida kutoka ile hospitali A, the bleeding again was supposed to stop within 3 days. But nimekuja home, still the problem is persisting. So already sahi nishakuwa pro, nimejua ni kuingia, ni kuenda kupigwa scan, after scan naingia theater. So I told God, I think I am not ready to go to theater again. Na hapo ndio nikaamua nijifunge na niombe for 3 days. Na nikasema sikunywi zile dawa nilikuwa nimepewa, nikajifunga for those days. And on the third day, as we were concluding our prayers, that is the first miracle that happened. I started labor pains that lasted from around 6 in the evening to around 1 at night. And I thank God that whatever was in the uterus just came out by itself. No doctor, no surgery, it just came out by itself. So there is power in prayer, and God came through his own way, and I got well. But after that, I was still to go for clinics afterwards for doctor to confirm. So nikaenda for scan, and everything that was remaining in the uterus ilikuwa imeclear. So after that, since this was an abnormal pregnancy, I was to go through a journey ya kwenda for clinics until the pregnancy levels ziende chini, and the doctor would confirm this through the beta ECG test. The beta ECG tests ni ya kuonyesha how many weeks are you pregnant. Kuna zile hormones ambazo uform kwa mwili ya mwanamke saili ana get pregnant. So lazima angemonitor hizo hormones mpaka zirudi back to normal, that is around 5 to -5 for a woman. So nikaenda for monitoring of the beta ECG, and I was doing this test after 2 weeks, which is also a very expensive test. But I thank God, alitupea finances, we managed after 2 weeks for that test. And after 3 months, I tested negative for pregnancy. Because when the beta ECG levels are high, you test positive for pregnancy. So zikirudi back to normal, that is when you go back to being normal, as in you're not pregnant. So zikarudi back to normal, and doctor akatuambia sasa, now that they are normal, you can go ahead and try to conceive again. And that was the second miracle, because the doctor gave me some conditions for those levels ndo zishuke. One, aliniambia because this is an abnormal pregnancy, which is a very rare case, they don't know the cause, therefore they have no cure for it. So the first thing after evacuation, if the hormones do not shuka chini, you can either choose to live being pregnant the rest of your life. That is, the beta HCG levels remains high and you remain to be pregnant the rest of your life. That means you cannot conceive because your body already detect you're pregnant, therefore you cannot have your monthly periods, like mwili yako tu detect uko pregnant. Then the second condition was I can go for chemo, because chemo can kill the cells, the placenta cells, therefore the beta HCG levels can go down and they can test again negative for pregnancy and conceive. So those were the conditions. The third condition that the doctor gave me, if I want iende kabisa na hizo mbili zimekataa, the third option and the worst one is to remove the uterus. So already option number 3 is out. Remember, I'm newly married, so mambo ya kutoa uterus hapo hatuna, so tumebaki na options mbili. Exactly after 3 months, hormones zikaenda chini by themselves and nikatest again negative for pregnancy. So we tried again, nika-conceive tena. But now in this conception ya pili, things were different. So when I realized I was pregnant through the test, after some weeks I decided to go for a scan. The doctor recommended for a scan. Nikaenda for the scan. The scan ilionyesha that the cervix is closed, but nothing has formed. Literally ni hewa iko ndani, because after that already niko pregnant. Nikifanya tests, both the urine na both ya blood ya beta HCG inaonyesha niko pregnant, but nikifanya scan inaonyesha something different, because the scan alikuwa anataka kuangalia the heartbeat, akapata now the uterus iko empty but the cervix is closed, na tumbo ilikuwa sasa ina grow like a pregnant woman, and I was behaving like a pregnant woman, the morning sickness, vomiting, all those stuffs. So after that, daktari akaniambia pia yeye haelewi, ajui ama ni the H-mole imereoccur, but it would be reoccurrence of H-mole, but now pia yeye haelewi kwa sababu haoni kitu yoyote, so he recommended me to go for an MRI test. Nikuwa kwa ile nyumba ya, unajua ile mahali MRI iko, unaingia huko peke yako and the machine inaka whole like unaingizwa tu peke yako. So nikuwa kule ndani, the doctor came, kazima machine, akakuja akaniuliza, young lady, what brings you here? And I'm like, doctor, nimetuma hapa na daktari, maybe you can read the papers and see. And he's like, I am seeing nothing, you're very okay, your pelvic area is very okay. Akaniuliza exactly what made the doctor recommend an MRI scan. And nikamwelezea the whole story. Akaniambia maybe we can try nikudunge ndawa, maybe ya ku-enlarge the images, probably we might see something. So tena nikaingia kule, akanidunga sindano, nikaingizwa tena kwa machine. Daktari akaniambia, young lady, you're very perfect, can you go home? Hakuna kitu mimi naona mbaya na wewe. So already I'm like, kwani ni nini? Sina mimba, kumefungana. Daktari mwenyewe anasema niko sawa. Mpaka tu inafika mahali unajiuliza maswali mingi, but hauna majibu yake. You're like, God, how would I have kept myself for this time just to encounter mimba haziko? Like, what did I ever do to you?
The Golden Arc TV, subscribe. Thank you for watching.
After that, nikarudi back kwa daktari kuangalia zile result. Akaniambia pia mwenyewe haelewi hizo results. Probably alikuwa na expect kitu but kwa hizo test zote tumefanya hakuna. Hata anashindwa ata treat nini. So akaniambia, so Jackie, I think if now probably the HYPEREMESIS has reoccurred, and since the first time the hormones zilienda chini peke yake, we are left now with the other option because it has reoccurred again. So you either choose to go for chemo to kill those cells, or live with it the rest of your life, no period, no child, ukae hivyo. Then the last option again was there to remove the uterus. But for me now, nikamwambia give me some time, go think about it. Ukiwa umepewa hizo options zote tatu na zote ni mzito, hata wewe akili inaweza kataa kufunction kidogo. So we came with my husband, we were with my husband. I thank him, he really stood by my side. So vile tulikuja with those answers za daktari, nilianza ku-strategize what to do. So I decided to take a study leave for 2 years because I felt this was too much. So, and for one, I did not want anybody know what I'm going through because already mimba yangu ina grow na ni hewa iko ndani. So nilijua kuna time itafika tumbo itakuwa kubwa, then mtu anze kukuuliza mtoto wako wapi, you know, those silly questions. So I decided to take leave kutoka job, and it was during COVID. At least shule hata kama tulikuwa tunaenda na bado kulikuwa na COVID, so taking the leave was a bit easy. I went, I talked with my boss, the late Elias Nyaga, na akanielewa, so akanipea study leave. So when I took the study leave, I took it so that nikuje for treatment, but kichwa yangu ikaniambia zi. So I decided to go to study, at least so that hizo stress zinitoke, as in mambo ya watoto, mambo ya abnormal pregnancy zitoke tu kwa akili. So nikaenda shule Nairobi. Don't forget, I'm going still in school when I'm pregnant. The pregnancy, as in there is no baby in the uterus, but ball ina grow, and because the cervix is closed, so ndani ni hewa iko, na bado ni tu niko na zile signs tu za pregnancy, the morning sicknesses. Yani kuna watu hata usikii kuona, ukienda class unasikia kila mtu tu ananuka. So nikakaza, nikasoma until the third semester, the last semester. So zile signs zikakuwa too much, and my roommate realized I'm pregnant, and she's like, "Ai Jackie, siku hizi niko na mimba." Namwambia hapana, ile tu najificha. So it happens one evening the hubby came visiting him. After he came visiting, alikuwa ametoka kufanyia a certain family, one of the family members surgery. So he came to see his wife. Vile alikuja akajiintroduce, and he introduced himself as, let me call him Dr. C, and he's a gynecologist. So vile after wameenda, the roommate akaniuliza, na Jackie, si uko na mimba, why don't you talk with my husband akutake through this? And I'm like, mimi nitaweza kumlipa because is a personal doctor to a certain family, and the cost ya kumlipa ni pesa mingi. So mimi niliona hata kama siwezi afford kulipa huyo, the kind of money is paid per session. But again, I saw the grace of God, because through my roommate I was able now to access the husband, free of charge consultation, everything. This Dr. C told me that huenda ni HMOL imerioka tena, and now if I want, as in, to do away with the pregnancy signs that I'm experiencing, I should choose to go for chemo. I'll stay again with it the rest of my life. I'll choose again removal of uterus. Juu aliniambia hivyo ndivyo walisoma shule, na juu si eti washai treat mtu, it's a rare case, so that is what is written in the books. So after we talked with Dr. C and he told me, I asked him about the assurance, as in nikiamua kutake any of the options ambazo wamenipea. For instance, if I choose to take chemo, what are the survival rates? Akaniambia, since he is not a gyno-oncologist, he cannot advise me. So for him is a gynecologist. So akanirifaa kwa mabishti wake wawili who are gyno-oncologist. So ambao sasa wataweza kunielezea mo. So akanipea contact ya daktari wawili. Kwenda kwa daktari wa kwanza, he was outside the country, alikuwa ameenda India for a surgery. So kupigia daktari wa pili, I will mention his name, is called Dr. Yengo. Akakuwa is available. So I called a friend of mine, anaitwa Baha, because I felt sina strength tena ya kuenda kuambiwa vitu na madaktari. Tukaenda na bishtangu Baha kwa na daktari. So tukafika kwa daktari akatuelezea the same stories Dr. A, B and C walikuwa wameniambia. That is what exactly this doctor told me. Nikamuuliza na zile what now will we do about it, because nilikuwa nimefeel sasa nimechoka, because everywhere I go nakaa tu a pregnant woman, but ndani yangu tunajua si yuko pregnant. So akaniambia, now if I don't want to live with it the rest of my life, if I don't want the uterus to be removed, we have to go through the chemo way. Nikamuuliza, ndo akaniambia, nikamuuliza, how sure are you? Have you ever encountered such a situation? And he's telling me the last time aliona hii kitu alikuwa intern, and the man who is telling me that the first time ali encounter such a thing alikuwa intern already, akona mvi kwa kichwa. So you are like, how many years are those years back ati ali encounter such a case ya HMOL, na nataka na mimi sasa nikafanye try and error thing. Okay, na kaniambia condition, if you choose to go for chemo, wakitry chemo ya kwanza ifail, sina option ya kukataa kwenda an intensive chemo. So if I choose to go for chemo, I have to go for chemo throughout, because zile ndawa zikiekwa kwa mwili ita act kama catalyst. That means the beta ECG level will be shooting, as in ile pregnancy level itaanza kushoot. So if I choose that way, hakuna kwenda back. Nikamuuliza what are the survival rates, na akaniambia that patient mwenye walifanyia akiwa intern alikufa, hakusurvive. And I'm like, oh my God, why are you giving me a surety that I will nitasurvive after hii chemo yetu mwenye ulifanya practical na yeye alikufa? And I told him, give me some time to go think about it. Remember, me niko na bishti yangu Baha nikipewa hizi stories zote, so my husband is not there. Remember, I'm still a student, niko na end of term exam waiting for me. So nikamwambia, doc, give me 2 weeks to go think about it. So these 2 weeks zilikuwa zangu niende nifanye exam. Nikishamalizana na exams niokote hizo vitu zote aliniambia tena nirudishe kwa akili. So nikaenda nikafanya exam. After the 2 weeks, nikaita bwanangu akakuja Nairobi, tukaenda kwa daktari ndio aweze kutuelezea exactly what is this. Na in fact daktari mwenyewe hana answers zile nataka, cause nataka niambie ni nini, yeye mwenyewe ananiambia pia ajui. But kitu alikuwa tu ananiassure that akitry the chemo, because the chemo kills the cells, it will work. Nitarudi tena kuturn negative for pregnancy, and after that I can conceive. And I'm like, okay, I'm left now with no option and time is running. Remember, nilichukua leave ya 2 years study leave. Now already now we are in the other second year, so the time was really running very fast. So tukaongea na bwanangu and akani encourage, akaniambia, babe, go for it. For one, remember, I'm newly married na watu wana expect kwa utapata mtoto. Miaka ndio hiyo inasonga already, miaka 2 iko chini. So tuko mwaka watatu, so tukaamua juu at the end of it all tutataka mtoto na hizi pregnancy levels hazitaenda chini, so why don't we try chemo. So my husband encouraged me, and I remember in that room the first session he went with me. So before chemo you have to go for some tests. Nikapelekwa zile test, wakahakikisha the all organs are okay before the start of the chemo. So nikastart na ile chemo ambayo si kali, and before the chemo lazima ningesign ya kuonyesha nimepeana mwili wangu for the practicals. Kuna ile consent just in case anything happens. I will not blame the doctor, I will not blame the hospital. So that day was the worst day you conquer your fears. Kusikia chemo is a no go zone. So kuona vile inatengenezwa, nikarudi nikaekwa maji, then nikarudi nikaekwa ile ndawa, and my husband was just there beside my bed. Zaki, babe, unasikiaje? Ni chungu nikuletee maji, but deep down there is a lot of psychological torture in your mind. Maybe your air might go off, maybe nywele yako itakatika, maybe zile vitu lisign pale kwa concept bado zina ring kwa akili. What if the kidney fails? What if the liver fails? All those things. But I thank God I went for those chemos for 3 sessions. And nilipofika session ya 3, my worst fears happened. The chemo failed. So what I mean by failing is that instead now of the chemo killing the cells, it started acting as a catalyst. So zile cells zikaanza tena kushoot. So the pregnancy level started kupanda. So kurudi kwa doc, akasema we have to try now combinations of chemo drugs, which was a bit intense. So this time round, the first 3 sessions, nilizichukua on cash. So you can imagine the bills and what have you. But I thank God we managed.
The Golden Arc TV, subscribe. Thank you for watching.
This one was a bit intense, cause hata kuna dawa nilikuwa naekwa for 12 good hours. Hiyo dawa hakuna kutoa. Hata kama ni kwenda choo unaenda nayo ikuwa kwa drip. Kama ni kulala ujende haja kubwa ukuwa hapo, like it should not haipaswi itoke kwa mkono. So nikaenda hiyo. I went for 6 sessions, and during these chemo sessions I was still praying and trusting God. Kwa sababu ukisikia chemo you're realizing that it's kitu rahisi hivi. The first one, daktari alikuwa na expect nywele zitang'oka even within the first session. Unfortunately, nywele yangu haikung'oka. Hapo ndio daktari alianza kuona ni kama dawa ifanyi kitu. I remember God saved my life 3 times during those sessions. Hiyo wakati nilikuwa na treatiwa, I missed death mara 3. Mara ya kwanza kuna hiyo dawa nimemention hapo nilikuwa naekewa for 12 hours. So after kuekewa dawa, usiku moja nasikia somebody is touching my hand. I was really very tired. Na nasikia hiyo mkono, hata kama hiyo iwezi kwa mkono ya bwanangu, there's somebody anatry kunifanyia kitu. So kuamka naangalia ni daktari anajaribu kuweka dawa kwa ile sindano tulikuwa tunawekwa kwa mkono, and I'm like, mbona unaniwekea dawa na already nilikuwa nimewekwa? Aniambia hapana, imekuja na jini yako, so unapaswa uwekwe. And I'm like, the first time doctor aliniambia hii kitu naekwa kwa mwili yangu ni poison. And remember, mimi si patient wa cancer. That is one thing hawa madoka hawaelewi. So mimi ni triendera wanafanya na mwili yangu. Then daktari ananiambia hapa eke an extra dose. Nikamwambia hapana. Ananiambia but this medicine is very expensive. Nikamuuliza sasa mimi nalipa dawa? Mimi kitu usinieke. Aya, so in the morning kupigia doka nauliza mbona they prepared an extra dose. Na akawakanya. When I was going again, I was going for the sessions after every 2 weeks. Nikienda the other second session, sahi sasa nilikuwa nimevuta waya. Cause nilikuwa already sasa najua zile dawa naekwa. Nilikuwa najua siku ya kwanza naekwa hii dawa, siku ya pili naekwa hii, siku ya tatu vile dawa zilikuwa zinafuatana. Again as I was sleeping, this time alikuwa a nurse. Akakuja tena anataka tena kunieka dawa and I'm like, why are you giving me an extra dose? Na already nilikuwa nishaekwa. Akaniambia hapana, unapaswa uwekwe like imetengenezwa. Mimi nikamwambia hapana, hiyo dawa nayo unieki. So I called my doctor, I remember. I thank Dr. Ujengo so much, even in absentia. That night he took my phone call. Kuongea na daktari, akamwambia huyo msichana kama alikuwa amewekwa dawa siekwe. And the following day vile alikuja, alienda akatetesha wao mahali dawa ilikuwa inatengenezwa na akajua what the problem was. So finally sikuwekwa dawa. Just imagine in the two scenarios. Kama si God ningewekwa an extra dose, I don't think I would be here to tell the story anyway. Because that means an extra poison in the body. Na already ile dawa already iko concentrated. Na tena mimi ni practical wanafanya na mimi. So that would be ingekuwa story ingine. But I thank God. He always stood by my side. On the third time I missed death on that time is that during the last sessions nikaandikiwa dawa zingine 2 in the chemo sheet. So we were with my husband is the one who realized. Na by the way, bill ya this time iko juu. Na kiangalia out of card ya 1 million, we have less than 2,000 shillings. So there were 2 extra doses. So kumaanisha hizi dawa lazima tugharamie. So akaniuliza mbona doka ameongeza dawa 2? Nikamwambia hata mimi sijui. So nikapiga picha ile chemo sheet tukatumia Dr. Yengo. Dr. Yengo akauliza why mbona umeandikiwa hizo dawa 2 ni za watu wa cancer, you're not a cancer patient, why should they give you that medication? I'm like, I don't know doc, it's your colleague who has written, maybe you can ask him. So nikarudishwa tena kwa daktari. Yule daktari akasema lazima aekwe, after chemo kuna zile dawa huwa wanaekwa but still the chemo drugs. Akamwambia but this one is not a cancer patient, hapaswi kuwekwa hizo dawa. So zikatolewa kwa ile chemo sheet. So imagine if kama ningekwa zile dawa tena of the cancer patient, I don't know what would have happened to me. To encourage somebody there who maybe has a cancer patient, maybe mwenye anapitia chemo, even during that process, it is good to trust God. It is good to pray, no matter the pain in your heart, no matter those questions you're asking yourself and you don't have answers. Find it in your heart to look for sometimes to pray about it, even before the session and before you go for the medication. After that, the placenta cells zikaenda chini and I tested negative for pregnancy. Yeah. Na hii time nyingine sasa daktari amesema we stay for 1 year bila kupata mtoto. Ndio yale madawa yaweze kutoka kwa mwili. So after nimetoka hospitali, it was very heavy for me. Ndio nimemaliza chemo. Test negative for pregnancy. But the pain inside me was too much. So when we came, of course tulishukuru Mungu na tukaomba, because throughout that journey we saw the provision of God. Chemo is very expensive. It really drained our finances. Mpaka ikafika mahali we cannot afford something to eat in the house. But in the middle of this, I saw the provision of God. Because there is no single day that we went without food. Hata hiyo siku we were almost kuishiwa kabisa. So I remember that time we prepared that food. Between our riches and poverty, we had only 50 shillings. Na nakumbuka hizo ndizo pesa bwanangu alienda kazi akapata that day. So it was during the COVID. So hakukuwa na kazi because in the public offices kumefungwa, nao ndio watu tunategemea sana wakuwa customers wetu. So between us we had only 50 shillings. Na hii food actually nilikuwa nimepewa na Mathe Kitheri nikuje nikaange, lakini mama hakuwa anajua exactly tunapitia nini. So I saw a miracle that day. After to prepare that food, God sent our best couple. Kawaida huwa anatuambia wakikuja, but this day walitupigia simu wanatuambia, by the way we are coming, we are on the way. So nile mnaulizana, wakikuja watajua tuna kitu ya kukula, so lazima tungetafuta kitu ya kuficha ficha. Nikamwambia bwanangu, ile 50 bob iko, enda ununue maziwa, ndio such that hii Kitheri tukikula wasiposhibota wateteremsha na chai, so hakuna mtu atajua hatuna anything kwa nyumba ya kukula. And you know, they came carrying shopping that it carried us for some weeks. Na kwa hiyo shopping ndani yake kulikuwa na kitu very important that I don't forget. Kulikuwa na cooking oil. Juu hata wangetuletea zile vitu zote maybe wangebeba kwa shopping, bila mafuta hatungeweza kukula hiyo food. But I thank God, yani Mungu alipackage hiyo shopping ikakuja with everything that we needed for survival. After that, my mother as well akaanza kuwa na shukushuku, hizi travel tunaendanga Nairobi ni za nini. Na sai remember nimwambia tumetumia pesa yote imeisha. So my mom gave me some cash ambayo iliweza kusimamia one session na ikaweza kutulipia the transport and all the expense. So when I say we never lacked, this God in heaven, is that even in the middle of lack, Mungu aliona tunahitaji chakula, Mungu aliona tunahitaji fedha, and in the middle of that he provided. So after the chemo, the pain was too much. Nilikuja nikachukua zile makaratasi zote kutoka accident 2019, na hizo zote nilikuwa nazo, nikaenda nikazichoma, all the medical records. Tukawasha moto na bwanangu, we prayed and we told God we don't wanna go through this again. We took all those medical records tukazichoma. Nikamwambia bwanangu aninyoe nywele, as in I felt so empty in me, waiting another for 1 year bila kuconceive, and I felt a lesser woman, and I told God like I'm done with this. And nikamwambia bwanangu aninyoe. I had very long beautiful hair. Akakataa. So nikatime vile alienda job, nikaenda kwa kio, nikaanza kukata one by one, and this is the evidence of the hair I had kept. Nikaanza kuzikata moja kwa moja. After the 1 year was over, daktari aliconfirm we can now try and get pregnant again. So after that nikaambia God like staki sahii mimba tu ambayo ni vitu hazi exist. Like God, this time round I want a baby. And staki tena kubeba maji, mara sijui hewa, yani vitu haziko. So nika conceive na nika confirm niko pregnant, but still nilikuwa na woga hata kama nilikuwa nimeomba na nikaamini Mungu. So nikaenda for scan to confirm if this time round it is a baby. So nikaenda nika confirm, nikaona mtoto wangu anacheza vizuri, everything was okay and I was so excited. So nikasema during the weekend nikitoka job nitakuja bwanangu pia ende aone at least this time round there is a baby, there is somebody who is kicking somewhere. And vile nilikuja tulikuwa twende for scan. Kupigwa scan, heartbeat ilikuwa chini. Tukasik for a second opinion and tukapata ile heartbeat even sasa hakuna, there were no fetal activities, na mtoto tu amelala side moja, amenyamaza, hakuna movement, hakuna ile heartbeat. So nikakuwa referred to a gynecologist by name Dr. Gishugu. So kutumwa kwa daktari akaniambia mtoto kama heartbeat ime stop lazima atolewe. So akani take through some counseling, nikakubali tu atolewe because if the baby is not viable then kumaanisha amekufia kwa tumbo. So sikuwa na any other option left. But again this time round niko zile za again, now God you have given me a child, like a human being, a fetus now, and now tena heartbeat ime stop. Why me again? Mbona napitia hizi vitu zote hata sielewi ni nini? Nikakubali tu mtoi atolewe. Nikaenda nikaekwa through the medication, mtoto akatoka. Na that time nikuwa in labor still, my husband was with me. Hata wakati katoto kalitoka bado alikuwa na mimi, and it was one of the most painful pictures kuangalia. Hata kama alikuwa white as in colorless, you'd see the small intestine, you'd see like a baby, it was like a boy. That picture it has never come out of my mind. I was like, why God, why me? And that time nikaambia God, I've been through a lot, and I just requested God that Mungu, I think nimepitia kutosha, and nikamwambia sitawahi kuitisha mtoto tena. If this is the kind of pain, I think it is too enough for me. And I told God enough is enough. Na nikaambia Mungu anipe some time I be myself. Hata ile maombi ya kuombea chakula unashindwa kuomba, like unashindwa, hiyo mdomo ikifunguka utaambia Mungu nini? And how I'm brought up, my mom has always told me Ngai atioragua kiuria. What that means is that God is never questioned. And through that moment I started sinking in depression slowly by slowly. Sikujua naingia into depression, but my husband started noting, anapata mali ameniekea food, kabla ende job ndipo atapata mali, hata maybe amewasha TV ko tu on, like I'm still sleeping, doing nothing, not eating. And so came one evening and told me, babe, mention any country of your choice. Hata kama ni loan nitachukua tu nikupeleke, you go relax. And in that moment, alinipeleka for an out. It was during the Easter holiday. That is last year, 2023. And as we were enjoying ourselves in the place that we were, we saw a church there, and we decided, why don't we go in? And it is on a Good Friday to go just and worship the Lord, then go back to the hotel and sleep and have a nap. At least tulikuwa tumechoka kuzurula. And that time we went for the service. Tukaenda, ilikuwa inahubiriwa by a prophet of God by the name Prophet Samuel Kakande. And during the service, the Lord delivered me, and the rest is history. Here we are. And after that, a month later, I conceived again. This time round, the pregnancy was very peaceful. I did not even realize, by the way, I was pregnant. Siku tu zilisonga, nikaenda nikapigwa scan, nika confirm mtoto wako na anacheza. Those kicks throughout the pregnancy, they were very amazing. And I was very eager and really waiting to see whoever was kicking. And I knew that the Lord has answered me. Finally, Mungu akaniletea baraka yangu, ambaye ni kijana. I named that son Baraka, because indeed he was a blessing. And to me, what I've learned through my skulls is that, one, you should have faith in God. Na usitake faith yako ilegezwe despite what you're passing through. After the first miscarriage, I don't know to call it miscarriage, I don't know to call it what. After the first abnormal pregnancy, nilipelekwa theater. Bwanangu aliniletea gifts ambayo ilikuwa nguo ya mtoto. Na akaniambia, this cloth will be worn by akaniambia, these clothes will be worn by my son, and will be worn by my son. And after 4 years of waiting, those are the clothes that his son alivaa the first day. So usilegeze your faith in the Lord.
HYPEREMESIS TV, subscribe. Thank you for watching.